Hey guys, hope you liked that little intro video to kind of show what we do. My name is Greg. I'm an audio engineer here in the VooDoo Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri. My brother and I run a side company called Brinster Productions. He is the lighting director here in the VooDoo Lounge. And if you've ever seen any of our other videos on the Brinster Productions page, we do a lot of how-to videos. We got some out there on how to set up and run PA gear. I got a 5-part series on how to build a Dual 18 subwoofer box. We have some other videos on work trunks, fog chillers, some little tricks of the trade videos on making your gear setup faster and stuff like that. So check out those other videos if you've never seen our page before. So in some of our videos we relate this place here, the VooDoo Lounge. We talk about our pro experience and our full-time job. So this is it. So I'm going to give a quick little venue tour today. And we're going to go over all the equipment and gear that is inside this room. It is about $1 million in sound and $1 million in lighting, and probably around 100,000 in video. Just to start off, this room is a 1,400 capacity standing room, and I'll show you another shot of the room looking out from the stage later. And about 750 if it's fully seated. And you see these chairs stacked up over here. We had a fully seated show last night, so we can fit about 750 if we are seated. So we'll start here at the front of house position here, and it's this big huge desk all the way down here. So the whole room here is probably about 40 feet wide, maybe 30 feet, so pretty good size front of house position here. And start off with the front of house audio console. This is the Venue SC48. In the Venue line there are 3 consoles, the SC48, the Profile, and the full-size D-Show. The D-Show software runs on all of them. Looks like this if you've never seen it. This is a pretty standard software in the pro world. This is a lot better in my opinion than any of the Yamaha stuff that's out there, like the M7 or the PM5s. A lot of people run Venue. If you read Front of House magazine and you look at the shows and stuff in there that they put, a lot of people are running D-Show software. Usually the console you'll see is the Profile, which is the next size up from this. This is the smallest board in the line. It is 48 channels currently. You can go up to 64 channels internally, but this one, the SC48, has analog inputs on the back. So the other digital consoles in this product line you use a either Cat5 snake, or you can do some B and C snake stuff for digital snake. But this one actually hooks in to an analog system. So previously we had a Midas board that was an analog console, and so we had an analog snake with all of our inputs up here. This console has 48 analog inputs on the back, so we didn't have to convert our snake. So we have an analog monitor board. So this just dropped right in and took the place of an analog console. Very easy. So a little view here, you can see got LCD scribble strips on here. You have one bank of encoders above the channel. You have channel metering here, compression. You have a light for your gate, the EQ engaged, hidden bank clips. So if you're in a different page, you can see if the channel clips. So a lot of displays there, multi-layers here, and of course, you know, this is a Pro console, so you have motorized faders. Price-wise on this console, with the flight case and everything, is about $27,000, depending on the dealer you get it from. So you have a lot of surface control here, different group assignments, and your main left, right. Then you have mute groups up here, and then the section over here you have all of your EQ, compression, gate controls, and then aux-ins on here. So with this console, and what's cool about the D-Show software is you can do everything on the console in the terms of faders and encoders and buttons here if you want, or you can also do it all on the screen and the software. It's a little bright to kind of see the software there, but so anything up here is your selected channel. So any channel I change, when I hit my select down here, goes through all of my channels up here. So everything up here on the screen shows you exactly what's going on with that channel. You have EQ up here in this screen, then here's your compression, your gate, all your aux-ins are up here showing you where it's routed where, but then you also have a representation here of your EQ as well, so you have a screen in this fashion of, you know, you can click and drag with the mouse and drag these around, or you can click on the digital encoders here on the screen and do it. So there's several ways of changing anything on this board. It's really nice if you like to work with a mouse or you like to work with the actual physical controls on the console. So pretty good console. Another little thing here to look at if you've never seen this type of Pro console is they use plugins. So you go here to our plug-in rack. So all of your effects and things like that are internal with a digital console. If you've worked with smaller digital consoles, like some of your amateur boards like you'd find at Guitar Center, you know, they're only going to have like a couple of effects racks and maybe just some reverbs. So in here you get any plugin you want. You can download Waves plugins. This is the current Digi package that it comes with. Some of the upgrades are about $3,000 for plug-in packages, so they get pretty pricey, but you'll recognize some of these if you have Pro Tools. Some of these plugins are the similar plugins that Pro Tools has, like Revibe and Reverb 1, the Real Tape Suite, so you have tape saturation, tape delay, tape flanger, some cool effects like that. So a lot of plug-in racks here. You have 8 effects returns on this. So you can do 8 effects at once, and of course you can also route them to other channels if you wanted to. So if you needed more than 8 effects returns, if you had spare standard channels open, you can route them to there as well. You have, you know, a lot of EQs available, so you can take a look at like your mains EQ here. So you have 31 bands you can do on your left and your right, and then we have subs here. So we have 3 outputs coming out of the console for our mains, and then you have up to 16 auxiliaries that you can patch out. You have 8 groups and 8 matrices. So pretty extensive board, but once again, it's a Pro console, so this is what the tours are going to want, and you need to have gear that they're going to use in a Pro venue. So this was a nice upgrade from our old analog Midas that we had. The Midas is a very good console as well, but a lot of guys like to work on digital consoles now, so we kind of go with the flow with what the market is doing, and digital is pretty much what everyone's touring with now, unless they just like the analog sound. Check out over here real quick. This will be a little bit shorter description. This is the front of house rack. So we don't have any outboard comps or gates or any of that kind of stuff, obviously, now because it's digital. So we have a small little rack here. As you can see, we have a power conditioner. We have a comm system in here, which is this next unit down. It's a Telex comm, pretty high-end comm system. You have 2 channels that you can use, so you could put lighting on one, sound on another, production manager on one, and text on the other. So lots of different options you could do with a 2-channel comm system. And then so for like front of house, you have cool little things like this. So you have this little phone system you can call up and talk to the monitor board if you need them to move a mic for you or fix something real quick, you know, from the stage. You can call up, and then they have these little lights up here. So when you call, it flashes so you can communicate with each other. During the show, you see that light flashing, you can pick it up and talk to your monitor guy, whatever you need to do. So pretty cool. And then you also have the headsets as well with this system to talk back and forth between the positions. The next down, you have just a FM tuner. You know, 2 separate tuners on there. We hardly ever use radio station stuff, but if you're working with a radio station show like promos or radio station concerts, sometimes they want you to play their station so you can do the live broadcast and people in the room can hear as they're broadcasting. So it's kind of nice, you know, for the radio stations to be able to have their station playing for your like house music stuff while they're broadcasting. So that's why we use that. And then this is our front of house processing here. So you have a top processor in the bottom. Ours is split. We have balcony, which is a cluster up here that covers the balcony, and they're way up there in the corner. You really can't see them. The line array box is up there, and then the bottom down here, which is what the bottom one goes for. So you have 4 inputs and 8 outputs on each of those, and it's a full it's tri-amped on the line array box and then sub, so it's technically a 4-way system. So you have sub, low, mid, and high for left side and right side, and of course the sub is mono. And these are the Clark Technics DN9848s. I don't know what the going rate on these. Originally, these are around, I believe, about $4,000 or so. You can look them up if you're interested in those. They're pretty old, but they still work, so that's why we still have them. Because we haven't upgraded to like late processing yet, which we'd like to be able to eventually. But that's what we have for now. And then of course you have a couple of CD players / burners, dual decks on each side, and then a rack drawer for all your extra stuff to throw in there, SPL meters, patch cables, talkback mic, stuff like that. Alright, moving on down the line here. Next we have a Mac tower underneath the desk, and a dual monitor display here. This is where we run a lot of our video graphics from. We do Pro Tools recording from the console, firewires out of the console directly into Pro Tools, and we can track 18 channels through one Pro Tools cable. We do video editing and stuff like that as well from this computer. So it's a pretty powerful computer. It's got, I believe, 4 1TB hard drives in it, multi-arrayed out, 2 quad-core processors, about 8 gigs of RAM, I believe. So pretty powerful. And then moving on down the line, this is the video system. So starting at the top, we have these panels. This is a company called AMX. They make a super sweet kind of touch interface control system here. So you see all these little icons here. These are for each of the individual TVs that are on the bar here. So there's 24 TVs in the room, and you can select each one individually and select the source. So you have sources over here. You can do different stuff like promo stuff, and we have a camera feed we can send to it. That, you know, you can pop up right there. So that is view on camera looking at the stage. So you can do live camera shots and stuff like that. You have DVD playback and all that down here, and the rack. So you can select all that from this one panel. It's a very expensive system that networks and routes together. This panel alone is like close to 15 grand brand new. So with all the video switching and TVs and all that, it's probably around $100,000 worth of video stuff in the room here. Go on down the rack, and then you have a DVD player, video switching and stuff like that down here. So these are all just ways to get video anywhere we want. We have VGA runs from the stage to front of house, from the front of house back to the stage, so we can send video anywhere we need to. And then we can also send it up to our projector. And then way up there in the little box up there, we've got a 10,000 lumen projector. Okay, so next here we have the lighting console. This is the Ava Lights Pearl Expert. This console retails anywhere between $16,000 to $18,000 for this package here with the touch wing. That's an add-on, and then the flight case and all that, of course. So this is a pretty standard touring console as well. It's pretty accepted throughout the touring industry. There are a lot bigger, fancier versions of lighting consoles that tours will like to travel with, but this is kind of the workhorse console that a lot of lighting directors will know how to use and how to program. And the thing about this one, in this room we do a lot of shows that aren't pre-set up shows, you know, where you have a bunch of pre-programmed cues and they run with one band like you do on tour. We do a lot of local stuff here as well, to where you need to have everything, you know, you have in your room easily accessible. So that's why we have this console. You know, you have this many handles up here, then you got some playback handles down here, so you can quickly access pretty much most of your stuff in the room, because it's all done on the fly when you're dealing with 5 local bands and some sort of like battle of the bands type show. For the lighting guy, you know, he just kind of has to hear the song and go with it. Audio is the same, but you know, you get a pretty good mix down and you can pretty much keep it there most of the show. But for lighting, you know, they're having to change a lot between colors and moving cues and all that, so they don't have the availability to just run a show that's pre-programmed and hit go like you would on touring shows, where they pre-program all the show to every song that the band is going to play. They've already got stuff set up to run. So in this room, it's just kind of all done on the fly for the types of shows that we do, unless the tour comes in, obviously, and they'll program their own show. But so this console works great for that with the surface control it has. And then you have a touch wing over here. So this is a, you can have hotkeys and stuff over here on all these, and it's a touch control surface, so you can just launch keys directly from here. So quick look up at the lighting system from the house position here. We have truss all the way around the house, and then it goes above us here too. And so out here on this truss system, we have all these LED lights that go around the room. They can do pulses and chases and all that type of stuff for nightclub type shows that we do. Then also up there, you've got source for pars and source for ellipsoidals. And some of these point down. We do cage fighting, so you can have lights up here that point down to the ring. They put it down here in the middle of the dance floor. And up here we have our downstage truss. So this provides all of our front color wash and your spot positions. And there's 2 Max 600s up there. Those are made by Martin for wash fixtures. And then all the spots are source 4 ellipsoidals as well. And then for spotlights, I'll show you those in a minute. And those are up on the second level above the venue here. We have 3 actual spots that are person operated, you know, they're hand spots. Okay, so there's a closer look there of the line array. It's a little hard to see because it's dark up there, but these are EV XLC 127s. They have a 12-inch woofer, 2 6-inch mid drivers, and then 2 compression horns in them. We have a total of 14 boxes. There are 4 per side on the bottom half and 3 per side way up there on the top that cover the balcony. And then for subs under the stage, we have these little cavities. They have this nice cloth that kind of covers it here. And these are EVX subs. There is a total of 6 cabs under the stage, 2 in the center, and then 2 on either side. And they're double stacked here. You see these are dual 18s. Pretty nice subs, EVX subs. This is their highest line of the subwoofer they make in their touring series of line array and touring stuff. So power wise on the subs, these are getting about 1200 watts per cab. So with all 6, it's about 7200 watts of sub power alone. The total rig is about 65,000 with the tops. So 7200 with just subs is pretty good for this size room. You can definitely feel it in your chest, but it's not like extreme to where it vibrates stuff off the shelves that often. It has happened, but it's pretty powerful for the room. Some bigger tours actually have brought in more than that. When we had the Deftones, they added an additional 6 cabs per side of room. So they added another 12 sub cabs on each side plus these, because they just have that super low bass kind of sound that they want on tour. They want it to really kick you in the chest. So you can imagine the amount of power on that. Total was running probably around 20,000 watts or more just in sub power for the Deftones show. So it's pretty crazy. But I'll show you the room. Let's take a look out here real quick at the venue. So you see the bar each side. There's about 70 feet of bar on each side. Behind the front of house booth, there's a little VIP area with some couches. This side just is the exact same as the other. And then you look up top, and we have couch seats up there. And then all the way in the very top up there, so I was talking about, we have our spot position. So we have 3 spots up there. Okay, so up here on the stage, we'll take a quick look at the trussing that's above the stage. So we had the one out here in the house. Here's the front side of it here. And then you have a mid stage and an upstage. So the mid stage here, you can see we have 2 molar arrays, and then we have 5 Martin Mac 250s that are on this truss, and then a few park ends that shoot in for side lighting, some Source 4 PARs up there for special white light stuff or little down spots. And then on the upstage truss, this is where most of our wash comes from. So here's all of our PAR 64s, then Martin Mac 600s again. There's 4 of those up there, and then there's the one little down spot there, that Source 4 ellipsoidal right there in the center, that shines down on top of the drummer, so you can do some cool little spot stuff. Currently we have about I believe a 6 color wash and cans. So total, we can do up to about 80K of wash in this room, which is a lot more than we really need. So half the time we don't even have all the cans up on the truss, because the stage is a little smaller than some bigger venues. So to take a step back here, this is from the stage perspective, and it is a 26 from the front out to the from the back wall to the front edge here is 26 feet, and the proscenium opening is about 36 feet. So a decent sized stage. I mean, you could fit a big full size band on here, just not your full size like 40 by 60 stage. Then next up, here is the main amp rack. So here is all of your power that powers the rig. So up here on the top of this one, you got 8 channels of wireless that we can patch in wherever we want. And then we have all Shure wireless handhelds. Most of these all have Beta 58 capsules on them. This is the Shure UHF. Back in the day, these are about $1,000 a channel. This has now been replaced with a little bit newer stuff. This stuff here is about 5 years old, but it still works, and it's still a great wireless system. And then powering the entire main rig for the tops and the subs is all Electro Voice P3000s. See, all that there and all that there is all powering the main rig. Total is about 65,000 to 70,000 watts constant power for the system. And then we have a patch system in here, which is pretty handy. So we have our isolated split up here. So everything goes into one snake head, splits through these guys, and then that's how it branches off to go to front of house and your monitor board. And then we also have a patch bay that we can patch into any channel we want. So we have some other stuff down here. We have the floor pockets and wireless, and then like some return from front of house. So we can do fold back mixing, so you can send stuff from front of house back into our monitor amps if you didn't have a monitor engine here for a smaller show. So a lot of versatility having a patch bay here. We can send stuff where we want it to the stage and patch in from different locations into our main snake without having to run 50-foot cords all the way around the stage. We can plug stuff into floor pockets and then bring it up over here and put it into whatever we channel want. So it just helps minimize cables and stuff running all over your stage to keep it nice and clean. you know, for appearance and for trip hazards. Then you can patch into any amp you want as well. So they're already hardwired coming out of the monitor board, but if you needed to patch into an amp, there's another way you can do that as well. So if you can patch into any amp channel you want. So far as monitor amps, over here, and that's what those outputs were, these inputs were for, you have 12 channels of amplified monitors, and those are P3000s as well, with these CPS 2.4s, powers the horn. So our monitors are by amp, so the horn has its own amp and the woofer has its own amp. And then this is all the processing for the monitor rig that does that. So all of our channels, all your outputs come into here, then these split to your high and your low of all those monitor mixes. The DX38s, electric voice again. The entire rig is pretty much all EV. And then you have 12 mixes, and you also have side fills, which are QRX 2112, and that's the boxes you see stacked up over here. So it's a side fill rig. You've got two 12s and a single 18 down there per side, and we can double this. We have another set of these upstairs, so you could have two sets of tops and two subs per side if they needed that much power for the show. So next up we have the monitor console. Monitor console is a Soundcraft MH4. It's a quick little pan there. 48 channel console. It has 16 auxiliaries on it, so you could do 16 mono mixes. So obviously we only have the 12 channels, like I said, of amplified power plus the side fills, but then you can run in-ears and stuff as well. And this console can do 8 mono, and then 4 stereo channels, or you could do all 16 in mono. So there's some versatility there if you wanted to run stereo in-ears. These last 4 banks of channels here can do stereo, so you have a pan, so you can actually steer the sound around inside their in-ear monitors. Won't deal with that a lot in amateur stuff, but pro stuff, they definitely want nice balanced stereo mixes that sound like a front of house mix. You know, they want to be able to hear everything, so you'll be putting cymbals and everything in those in-ears. So having the stereos is pretty nice to do that with. Then you have a 4-band fully parametric EQ up here, Q controls on the 2 mids, high pass filter, and pad and phantom power, all that, of course, stuff you'd see on a normal console. And then on a pro console like this, everything is changeable. So they do in banks of 2 on your aux ins here, but you can pre or post fade all of these, so you have the options of everything you want with that. All the way through, they do in banks of 2. And then we'll look down below here. So down below in the rack, right here, you have 2 Yamaha SPX 2000 effects processors. So if you need reverb and stuff, and the in-ear monitors, you have that for the artist. And then we have Clark Technic compressors and gates down here. There's 4 channels per unit on each of these rack units, so it's pretty nice. You get 4 channels in 1 rack space. Total of 8 compressors and 4 gates. And then down below here, we actually, for RTA purposes, we have the Behringer Ultra Curve real-time analyzer is all we use it for. We don't use the EQ on this, but just a real-time analyzer for reference for ringing out monitors. Most of us pretty much can just do it by ear, by the frequency, and we can hear it and know what to cut, but we do have that for reference as well if we need to. Then up here in the rack, this one's a little hard to see, it's kind of dark under here. In the top we have 2 in-ear transmitters in-house. If you need more, the tourists will usually bring their own, but we have 2 that we can provide in-house. And then we have all Ashley 31 bands for every single mix. So we'll get a better view here. There you go. So all of our mixes have 31 bands on them, of course, and this is how you ring out all of your feedback and things like that, and tune in your monitors. And so that's pretty much it under the rack. And a couple other little things here. Dealing with venue stuff, you never know what people are going to bring in when you do with DJ rigs and stuff like that. So we have pretty much every type of adapter cable possible up here. RCAs and RCA to quarter inch to XLR cables. We have some paired together XLR cables that are 2 XLR cables or 3 XLR cables that are all taped together. So if you do like a stereo output, you don't have to run 2 individual cables. You can run them together and drop it all at once, so you don't have to make 2 separate runs. Then quarter inch cables for patching in DIs and stuff like that. And of course, all different sizes and types of mic stands, tall booms, short booms, straight stands, stuff like that. And then, of course, tape wall. No venue can deal without having different colors of gaff tape and spike tape for labeling and marking floor positions and things like that. So then, of course, you have all that stuff over there. Okay, so last thing here, we have our microphone rack. And so what we're using here, we got all Beta 58s down here on the bottom, SM 58s in the second row, and there's some SMs there, Sennheiser 609s, a couple of Beta 57s, and then a lot of SM 57s here. And then cool little thing we do that you see a lot of the tour stuff do with their mics as well. So instead of putting all your mics in their little bags that they come with, you can get this styrofoam here. And it's well, not really styrofoam, it's like a squishy, you know, case petroleum foam. Drill little holes in it with a drill bit, and you can leave a perfect cavity for all your mics to go into, so they can just drop right in. And then you see it's labeled, so this provides an instant inventory of what microphones you have out. So when you have a lot of mics out on the stage and you're packing everything up, you can make sure none of them disappear out on the road or disappear with the band. You have an instant inventory here than trying to see what you have in all this microphone bags, so you can instantly see what mic is missing and what type it is. And then this also just makes setting up and tear down a lot faster, that you just drop them right into place. You don't have to deal with zipping up all those little bags. It's kind of a hassle doing that. So this is a quick way to get them in and out if you need to grab a mic really fast or put them away. This makes your setup and tear down a lot quicker. So if you have a way that you can do this, I highly suggest doing it. And then down here we have all of our drum microphones. So we have in the back here, these are all Beta 98s. They're a small diaphragm condenser. They work good for toms and percussion stuff. They're real small and they have a gooseneck on them, so they can get in to a lot of different configurations of rack setups and crazy drum kits and stuff like that. These clamps will clamp onto about anywhere on the drum kit, on the shell, the hardware rigging. So they're real easy to swap around when doing festival style shows, and you got to do quick little changeovers. Some of your bigger dynamics have clamps that are a little bulkier and harder to get off and on. So that's why we have these condenser mics, because they're just real quick to get off and on when doing changeovers. And then for our overheads and hi-hat and stuff like that, we have SM81s condensers up there. Then we have a couple of Beta 91s, and this is a flat microphone. It's a cardioid or half cardioid pickup, and this is so you can put up inside a kick drum if you've never seen one of these, and you can get a lot of click out of that beater hitting the head. So you know, a lot of metal and rock stuff, you want some really clicky kick drum. So if you double mic your kick drum and use one of these, you can get that real punchy click sound that you hear a lot in metal and stuff like that. So that's a good mic to get. I believe they're around $300 or so. They do sell them in any other place like Guitar Center, Musician's Friend. So it's a good mic to get if you really want to get a lot of click in your kick drum. And they're you can also use them as floor boundary mics as well. I've seen they actually have little rubber feet on the bottom that you could use if you're doing like tap dancing type stuff and you wanted to pick up floor noise. You could use those as well to do that with. And then for low frequency mics, bass drum, so for your bass guitars and kick drum, anything like that, anything low frequency, Shure Beta 52 is a really good mic. I believe these are about $200. Then we have Beta 56s for snare drum and other percussion type stuff. Another specialized mic. Everything in the Beta line pretty much has a specific purpose that they list on Sure's website, what to use it for. So a lot of I think all the Betas are hypercardioids, so a little different than this putting SM57s on everything. You can do a Beta series, and they're a little more, a little pricey compared to the SM series, but you know, they have a lot of custom purposes and stuff like that. So a lot of tours like to use the Beta stuff. So pretty much our rig is all Shure, because it's pretty much a touring standard. Everyone will pretty much use Shure microphones. Any tour and any engineers worked with them, so it's pretty standard to have Shure stuff. And then of course we have a lot of DIs, have these Countrymen's, and then you see a lot of these as well, are taped together like this. So you have stereo outputs of like synthesizers, keyboards, laptop playback, DJ rigs. A lot of them are already taped together, so you don't have to run all these individual DIs. So we try to streamline everything as much as possible here, just to make your setups and teardown go quicker. So if you have 2 channels, you have 2 channels already right there on the DI. You don't have to grab 2 individuals. And then we also have a couple of Sennheiser MD421s. I'll pull one of those out real quick. And so these are a great mic, pretty universal workhorse mic, good for low frequency, bass guitar, kick drum. If you're doing jazz stuff, you see 421 used quite a bit. You can also put it on guitars too if you want a nice deep chunky guitar, warm sound. Pretty good mic for that. And then last off, Shure's KSM series. We have 3 of these. There you go, KSM 32s. Large diaphragm condenser. I believe these are around the $600 price range. So great condenser microphone for horns. You use this for overheads. Really great sounding mic. This is a good studio mic as well. In the studio, you know, you could use this for vocals and all sorts of things in the studio, but in the live environment, definitely see this a lot on overheads. Guitars you can use as well. I've seen a lot of like country acts, and they really want a lot of you know, good guitar sound, so use a good large diaphragm condenser as well. So I've seen the KSM 32s used for guitars as well. Alright, there you go. That's pretty much the Down and Dirty venue tour there. Check out the Brinster Productions page. We are 2 brothers that have been doing sound and lighting for a few years. We work in the pro world here in this concert venue here, and we do stuff on the side to help bands out with mobile PA stuff for you know, bar and small show type setups. The Brinster Productions page has a lot of how-to videos on setting up PA gear, building some stuff, building cases, and tricks and tips of the trade on how to set up some things faster and makes them stuff a little more streamlined. So check out those videos on the Brinster Productions page, and have a good day. For how-to videos, project ideas, and tricks of the trade, check out the Brinster Productions channel on YouTube. Real production advice from working professionals in the sound and lighting industry.